how can someone overcome that fear of, a classmate laughing about them or saying, oh, that was a dumb question, or just something maybe bigger, they're putting something out on social media and getting attacks or whatever it might be. How do people overcome that insecurity?
Well, I do think we've taken a step back actually in-person communication, a huge step. Everything now is people are more comfortable in texting and communicating through social. And then when it comes to in-person, something's completely shifted. You can see people having a harder time communicating in person, and everyone's kind of deviating towards typing, texting, or email. It's become the comfort.
What's the easiest way to communicate without? Text. Yeah, exactly.
Text is the easiest. Email. So here's the thing. In person is the best way to communicate, by the way. Whenever I can speak to somebody in person or sit down and see them like this, this is where you get the best. This is where you get magic, right? Then there's Zoom. Okay. Then there's the phone. Phone is another great way. But when you go to email, you still have to write. But long form sentences, you have to write properly. Texting is just a couple of words. Yeah. And that is where everyone's kind of shifted to, gone. It's also when I text or when I post on social, I'm not it's keyboard courage. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not.
You wouldn't say it to someone's face.
You never say it to somebody's face.
I feel like you should only say things online with what you would say to that person to their face. Otherwise, what are we doing?
Yes. If you can't look at somebody and say it, then you shouldn't write it. Right. But it's the anonymity that I can write this stuff and then I can take out whatever's going on in my life out on somebody else, and I can feel brave in that way. But it's such a false way to be brave.
What does that do to the person communicating in that way, having that false bravery by saying something strong or powerful or aggressive online, but the unwillingness to do that in person? What does that do to that person?
You have to check in with yourself and realize, am I being a coward? If I can't say something to somebody's face, but I can do it over text, there's something that's missing. I think bravery is something that we don't speak about, and courage is something we don't speak about. We don't do it in a very overt way, in a very physical way, in a very engaged way. It's talked about as this thing. Oh, be brave, be motivated. Well, where is that? You have to manifest that with your body. You have to do it. And it's doing it in the day-to-day decisions that you make. So going back to my class, it's interesting. We talk about criminal justice, right? Criminology. And sometimes we'll talk about even being, for example, I showed them a video of somebody who fell on these New York City train tracks in New York City. And there were all these people on the platform. One person gets down to go help the person. And so I asked them, would you do that? The majority of the class, no. No, hell no. No, whoa, I'm not going to do that. And I hear that and I think something is lost there amongst us. When the answer, at least I feel, through my belief system again, is that the overwhelming answer should be I would want to help save another human being's life. I would want to help save somebody else. But we've come to this place where it's very much self-preservation. Don't say anything wrong. Don't do the wrong thing. Right? And attack in a way that's safe and comfortable, or not even attack, but you can disagree. And here's the other amazing thing. I think we don't understand how to disagree. So you can disagree or you can be competitive. It's something actually that you're taught in interviewing and in interrogations.
Are you trying to be competitive in interrogation or just?
So when I say competitive, I mean that I can disagree with you in a healthy way. So you call it competitive dialogue.
How does it look? If I say, the sky is green today.
Okay. Well, tell me why you think the sky is green.
It just looks green. I just see the color, I don't know, maybe it's a reflection of something, but it's green, it's not blue. Okay. So now what I would do in that moment is ask you why you think of it that way, why you see it that way. What is your belief system? You're not disagreeing with me and saying, you're an idiot, it's blue. Yes. You're not doing that. You're not getting defensive or aggressive. Because that is your value system. So I may, for example, I have a very strong belief system, fitness and working out. It's been part of me.
But that's my belief system. It is not somebody else's. If I try to impose it to somebody, so for example, when you hear somebody say, I have to lose weight, I have to lose weight, their belief system is not really based upon working out and fitness. So I can turn around and be very direct, and that's being direct with someone is the way you lose people. So what you want to do is you want to always let people talk, even if you don't like what they have to say, even if you don't agree with them. Let them go, let them explain themselves.
What happens when you let someone explain themselves, even when you know they're 100% wrong?
You shut up. You shut your mouth. That's like I always say that. That's the gift to any great communicator is this.
Yeah.
Let them go. Don't correct them. Don't tell them that they're wrong. Just let them be in their world. Now, here's the important thing. One, they're going to say everything they want to say. You're going to understand what their mindset is. And two things happen. One, you can speak now because once somebody's done sharing everything, now they can hear you. But what you do is you're speaking, I cut you off, I insert myself, you get frustrated. Hey, you're not listening to me. I'm talking. She's dismissing me. And so when I speak, you come back at me, I come back at you, and now we have conflict. And so, for example, when I used to do interviews, I would sit in rooms with people who...
When you mean an interview, you mean interrogation?
Yeah. I use, it's interesting.
You call them interviews, though.
Interviews and interrogations are the same thing. So what you see in TV, in Law and Order, that you did it, you this, you that, that's garbage, it doesn't work. It does not work. The best confessions I've ever gotten, they've been almost like psychology sessions or conversations where people progressively over a bit of time give you what we call admissions.
A little more.
Yes. So it'll be like, yes, I was there at the house. Oh, yes, I was there at the time. Yes, I saw her or I saw him. Yes, I left upset. Yes, this. Yes, that. And then incrementally, you get to the confession, yes, I did it. Whatever that is, right? Whereas most people go straight for the kill. Tell me. And it's because of this lack of patience, this thing that we know everything. And, maybe you are right in that moment, but it's not what you think. It's what the other person thinks, understanding how they think, getting into their head and speaking to them. So now if we bring this back to what you asked me about, being competitive means I can compete with you in ideas without it being ugly, without being confrontational or conflict. But what we've done is we've made conflict a confrontation, this very negative thing. We don't want it. When it happens, people lose their minds. I have so many people reach out, especially when I do consulting. The question's always, how do I avoid confrontation? How do I avoid conflict? Why do you spend so much time avoiding it? Why do you spend so much time avoiding speaking what you want to say, speaking your truth or sharing your ideas? And why can you not present them in a way where there is disagreement? There is competitiveness. I compete, you compete. No, the sky's green. Well, I see it this way. Oh, I see it blue. But why do you see it this way? And you have that dialogue.
But it's not an aggressive competitiveness. It's an open dialogue.
It's not me being a jerk to show you how smart I am.
Yeah.
And it's not me shutting you down. And it's not me having an attachment to the end result. Me being right. And me showing you how right I am. Confident people don't care how right they are. They don't. When you're confident, it's like, I know what I know. I'm good with it. This person sees things a different way. And also, it also comes into where the dialogue, where sometimes we think, well, I'm saying this, and this is what I mean. You also have to think, what is this person hearing? So just because I think, well, I said this, it's like, that's great. But what are they hearing? How do they hear you?
What's the skill then for people to... what happens when people avoid conflict as much as possible, as opposed to leaning into it and being comfortable with the discomfort of conflict?
That is very dangerous, and it is very bad.
To avoid it.
To avoid it, because I'm not telling you to go look for it. Avoid it to certain degrees when it's noise, when it's chatter. Like, people talk to me about politics all the time because I was former Secret Service. I don't participate. To me, it's noise, it's chatter. I don't share. And I never speak about the people that I had access to or protected.
Sure.
So, but it doesn't matter to me.
But a conflict between relationships of friends or family or coworkers or...
So it depends. If it's important to you, you should address it. What you do is it causes long-term regret.
If you don't address it.
If you don't address it. It causes you to build up resentment, anger, bitterness, and hate. That's where that comes from.
And the other person doesn't even know what they did, maybe.
Maybe they know, but if you don't check them, because from time to time in life, I say check, that's my queen's coming out, but when I say check, address it.
Yeah, check in with them.
Yes, you said this. This is how I see this. And when you debate something with people, use language that's factual. You said this, you said this, you said this. Rather than trying to speak to people, you did this, you said this, because you're giving somebody something factual and tangible to look at. Rather than, I feel this way, I feel that way. That's what happens is we get lost a little bit. Your threshold of whether it's healthy or not is, well, he doesn't hit me.
Why do people justify those things and why they'll stay in a toxic work environment or intimate relationship when they make these justifications? Well, at least it's not this and this and this.
I'm invested. I've invested.